The parents in the schools respect their teachers. They know that the needs of teachers and the needs of their kids go hand in hand. How is it that the people in charge of our schools don't know this? How is it they don't get that? We're not being listened to here at the board because upstairs they listen to one and only one person, and he's not here. He's over at City Hall. Right. So it's time for a dramatic change. It's time to put the public back in public education. Right. And the only way we're going to do that is with a democratically elected representative school board.
1 year ago in February 2011, we produced a report, which the media have, which examined the question, should Chicago have an elected representative school board? Based on our study, we had certain recommendations. Number one, transition. Chicago should transition to an elected representative school board that is representative of the broad community and CPS students in particular. Two, transparency. The board's operations should be transparent and publicly accountable, and meetings should be held when the working public can attend at accessible locations. Three, democracy. The board should establish structures and practices that strengthen democratic public participation in district initiatives and decisions. The board should work with members of the school community, including LSCs, in a deliberative process of local school and district improvement. Four, informed decision-making. The board should draw on sound educational research and educator, student, and community knowledge to develop and evaluate policy. And five, equity. Achieving equity in educational opportunities and outcomes should be integral to all board decisions. In conclusion, mayoral control is an affront to democracy and a hindrance to meaningful improvement education. Ending it is a crucial first step.
The next step is we are actively engaging other organizations in the city of Chicago. We're doing an outreach campaign to reach out to other neighborhoods, and then we will have a three-tiered strategy. One legislative, all right, one legal, and then the other direct action.
My name is Phil Cantor. I'm a teacher at North Grand High School. I'm here today because we're fighting for an elected school board rather than just having the mayor appoint whoever he wants to run our schools. Right now it's mostly millionaires running our schools. We think parents should have a say and community members should have a say, and that the community should be involved in our neighborhood schools. We're just trying to let people know what's going on. I mean, I think a lot of people assume that we have an elected school board because in most other places, in all the suburbs around Chicago where they have excellent schools, they have elected school boards. In other cities and towns, they have elected school boards for the most part. We're one of the few cities where there's an appointed school board, and it hasn't served us well. It really just hasn't served us well. So part of what we're doing is just educating people who tend to be surprised when they find out that the mayor gets to just appoint whoever he wants, and that some of the people he appoints actually were big fundraisers in his campaigns and things like that. People don't like that kind of politics. People want democracy, and we just have to let them know what's going on.
So good morning, everybody. All right. So we want to say thank you for coming out this Saturday morning. You could have been doing a lot of other things, but this is what we're supposed to be doing. Since 2002, Chicago Catalyst magazine reported on December the 6th, and since 2002, only 18% of the schools that have replaced closed schools are high performing, and of those 18%, half of them are selective enrollment. Does that sound like school improvement to you? No. The Chicago Tribune reported in January 2010 that under Renaissance 2010, the achievement gap between black and white students has actually increased as opposed to the achievement gap decreasing. Does that sound like improvement to you? No! And Don Moore, in his land-breaking report, Democracy versus Turnarounds, that he released in February of 2012, said that overall, there are no Academy for Urban School Leadership schools There's only one Academy for Urban School Leadership School that's in the top 100 and none in the top 50 in the city of Chicago. Despite millions of dollars of investment, despite the ability to push out the children that they don't want, they still are not outperforming schools with representative elected local school councils. Does that sound like school improvement to you? Well, you know that the average principal gets 2 to 3 years to show some improvement, and then it's questionable whether they're going to get that 4-year contract. This man has had a 17-year contract. The mayor of the city of Chicago has had a 17-year contract with dismal results. Not questionable results, not, dismal results. Yeah. So when does he lose the right to do this, and when do we hold the people accountable?
We go to these school board meetings, and sometimes the president speaks to the board, sometimes I speak to the board, and it's always the same thing. You got this rubber stamp committee sitting up there, and they're looking down at us, and they got this cavalier attitude and these looks of disdain, and they're like, okay, when you gonna finish, They're not accountable, they're not responsible, and they do not work collaboratively. That is why we need an elected board.
For the past 17 years, we've had an appointed school board. This appointed school board is not accountable to our children, our teachers, our communities, our stakeholders. The board answers to only one man, the mayor of Chicago. 17 years ago, we were told that Chicago needed change. We were told our schools were failing. We were told the answer was an appointed school board. Where are those changes? What has happened? The board hasn't done anything to help us. We need to take back our education system. 17 years of failed school policies. 17 years of failing our students. 17 years of rubber stamps. 17 years of excluding all of us as stakeholders. We need change. We demand change. We need accountability. Yeah. The board needs to represent us. Yeah. It needs to represent all 2.8 million people in Chicago, not one man.
We're tired of being disrespected. We're tired of being misused and abused. We're tired of having our children killed going to school and coming from school. We're tired of old books. We're tired of broken computers. We're tired of not having music programs that are number one. We're tired of not having young people having opportunity for recreational opportunities to shoot the hoop and to be able to do the Michael Jordan with their pocketbook later on. We're tired of the disrespect that is happening all over. We're tired of classrooms being so crowded and so overrun that the teachers are pulling their hair out, trying to figure out how they're going to teach the students. We're tired of this disrespect. And until there is more accountability and more understanding of what's going on in Chicago, we're going to keep saying, Mr. Obama, you come to Cocoa, you come to the city of Chicago, meet with the parents, and don't send somebody else. You come yourself and tell them how you're concerned about education. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Obama! Oh yeah! We want good education for our children. And I'm going to sit down now. Because I'm looking at your faces. And I know you love them. But we love our children more. What we like to do is just do just a quick overview of what's going to happen, maybe 45 minutes to an hour of some door knocking. We're not playing, and we got our walk sheets, and we're starting today.
We've broken down the 21st precinct into 13 teams. Each clipboard has a map of the area with the church on it.
Erica, E-R-I-C-A, Clark, C-L-A-R-K, parent of 2 CPS children, also with a group called Parents for Teachers. We're here today to kick off our campaign to win an elected school board for the city of Chicago, because we feel that we need to put the public back in public education. Right now, our school board is controlled by wealthy investment bankers, corporate executives, and friends of the mayor who really are not putting the needs of our kids first. The only way we're going to solve this problem is by bringing democracy to our school board and having the people who run our schools and make key decisions about our children's education accountable to us, to the parents, to the teachers, and to the students, and to the residents across this city. These decisions are too important to be left to an appointed board that just rubber stamps policies that are more about politics than about education.
I'm a member of Code because so other CPS students like myself won't have to go through the same policy changes and actions that have been done by an appointed school board. As a young person, I was affected by CPS actions as early as 4th grade. Without community, students, or parents' input, Chicago Public Schools made a decision to merge 2 rivalry schools in the community. Both schools, Price and Jackie Robinson, were doing well. Price was a performing art school, and Jackie Robinson has never been on probation. But despite all of the positives that the school were making, they still made this decision. Since 2004, violence in the community has risen. Tell me, who gets fired for creating violence in our community?
That's right.
There is compelling evidence that for over 17 years, the policies of mayor-appointed board in Chicago, composed mainly of corporate executives and bankers, have failed to improve the education of the vast majority of Chicago public school students, have increased inequitable opportunities and outcomes, and excluded the public. Significantly, only urban districts with majority students of color have appointed boards. That's true nationally. Our report recommends that Chicago transition to an elected board of education representative of and responsive to parents and students. Although elected school boards directly accountable to the public do not by themselves improve schools, they are an important step toward a more inclusive and accountable process of decision-making to improve education for all students.
What we're seeing right now is truly a disservice that is being done to our children. We speak of things of globalizing education for our children. We talk about making them productive citizens of society. What we must understand is that human beings, in order to be successful and productive, have to be well-rounded. We have to create a holistic child. Our children have so many talents and so many gifts that we have to foster. The only way that we will be able to do that is to provide those opportunities for them to shine, to learn, and to grow. We believe, starting here and now today, that the way to do that is to have an elected representative school board where there is representation from all over the city who will have the best interests of all of our children, whichever community they come from throughout this city.
And we've looked at campaign spending limits. We've looked at public financing of the actual school board elections. We have not come to a final decision on that, but we are very concerned about that. And we also don't want the mayor to manufacture some, when he recognizes what's happening now, to manufacture some bogus board where half the members are elected, half are appointed. We're going to fight for an elected representative school board that has many of the protections that you're talking about.
Lighted in yellow. Okay, we got a lot of voters. That's good.
You have 47 spaces. Those are that block is 2 flats.
Okay.
Mainly. So it's all set up. All you got to do is, some of them will be north side of the street, some will be south side. We're lucky because there's a lot of trees in the neighborhood, so the shade is there. It's just these addresses, all you have to do. It's pretty straightforward. There are 2 teams that have like 1 block and then half of another block, and they have to walk a block. Otherwise, it's just 1 block. So we did it as simply as we could. It's all straightforward. There should not be too many questions on what doors you got to knock on. There are some apartment buildings, 2 flats, and single-family houses. It's a mix. Some of the teams have just houses, some have a mix. The apartment buildings, you're gonna have to figure out, I'm not sure, you know, the best way to do that, because some of them, you know, you're gonna have to try and ring the bells and get in. That may be a little more challenging than just knocking on people's doors. And one other thing is such a nice day, there's gonna be a lot of people outside.